It's Morgan here from Morgan's Madness, of course. Today's video, my cupeth runneth overeth, is kind of a cool tribute to both my struggle with anxiety and Cuphead, which is a game I've been obsessed with lately. And I thought this video would be a cool fusion of the things I kind of want to do on this channel. So it's going to be a blend of anxiety talk and Cuphead game footage. Anxiety affects everyone differently, of course, and seasonal anxiety is in full swing right now for people that suffer from seasonal anxiety and depression. It's very real. Of course, the science of the lighting and everything can affect people's moods, but on top of people who already have anxiety disorders, seasonal depression is just another thing to deal with. But what made me think about this video was sort of this concept I've been rolling around in my head about how I sort of explain anxiety to people. So I decided to go for some visual aids, and yes, this almost matches my Cuphead theme as well, so I thought this would be kind of funny and maybe a little bit cute as well. But just more fun to demonstrate than just yammering on about it. But the general idea is just very simply this. I mean, we all have a cup to some degree, and this is our minds or our bodies or however you want to look at it. This is you, okay? And this is someone with, let's say, an anxiety disorder. Now, maybe if you don't have an anxiety disorder, your cup is much larger than this one, but let's just say this is my cup. Now, normally, things happen in life that sort of fill up the capacity of your emotional cup, as we call it. So, let's say you lose your job, right? You lose your job, so that's a little water goes in there, but you're still not overflowing, right? That's okay. Your girlfriend breaks up with you, or your boyfriend. Maybe you get into a fight with someone you really care about. Maybe it's something really serious, like the loss of a loved one that just overflows it. And for different people, it could be different things. Like, let's say you're in a relationship that means a lot to you and you're afraid of losing it, and that has completely filled your cup up to the brim. So these are just a variety of examples that I want to provide. And what I think is interesting is what I think when you have people with anxiety disorders, their cups are perhaps smaller in varying degrees than other people's, perhaps. That's the best way to explain it. So, when your cup is full in life with a bunch of things that are already going on, all it takes is something that could seem even small. Like in my case, a lot of times it's issues with my ex-wife. We're separated, so things come up, and it might have normally just been a little splash, but now it's leaking. Now it's running over the top. And I'm going to drink that a little bit. And why I think that is an interesting way of describing it is once your cup is overflowing, it spills out into your life. Panic attacks, anxiety, for me, it's a lot of the physical manifestations, choking and things like that, that suck. And I feel like that's the best way of explaining it is once your cup is full and it starts to overflow, your cupeth runneth overeth, that's when I get a lot of the physical manifestations in our life. And my theory is that people with anxiety disorders just perhaps have smaller cups, metaphorically. But it's something I've been talking a lot with my therapist about. Sometimes when we go in there, if there's not even a lot going on in life, we'll just have a interesting conversation about anxiety and how it affects us or other people, or just it's just things that I'm fascinated with. And once I developed this anxiety disorder, I just became fascinated with the idea of anxiety. Once I realized that it was a very real thing that was fucking with my life, that became fascinating to me. Like, one day I just woke up and I was having trouble breathing and I was choking and I was having all these horrible symptoms, and I went to the doctor and I was fine, and that's the first time I ever learned about what anxiety was. That anxiety was a very real fucked up thing. So ever since then I've been kind of fascinated by it, even though it's terrible and it fucks their lives. But hopefully that metaphor is an interesting way of looking at it, and also kind of fits my life because I've been obsessed with this game Cuphead lately, which is fucking incredible. I wanted to talk a lot about Cuphead lately because I've been playing a lot of fucking Cuphead. So I finished Cuphead this week on Expert, and which is weird because I'm not really that sort of braggy gamer. It's like, I did this on Expert because I'm fucking great, or anything like that. It was actually pretty unusual for me to do that, but I just love the game so much because the patterns and the uniqueness of each boss fight changes on Expert. Expert, it's more than just, oh, these bosses are a lot harder. They have more health and it's easier to die or something stupid like that a lot of games would do. There's real changes to the bosses that were interesting, and once I got hooked on that, I just had to do it. The Steam Global Achievements, which is where I was playing it, less than 1% of Cuphead players have achieved this achievement that I have achieved. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, as I said, you know, I feel like I want to reward myself with like a trophy. I'm going to go to the local trophy store and have them make a trophy for myself, because no one else is going to fucking give it to me, apparently. But yeah, so here's some footage of Cuphead. I wanted to sort of just show you what expert mode looks like and a couple other cool things that I picked up while playing, because I wanted to make a Cuphead video eventually, and this is sort of the fusion of what I like, life in games and life in nerdy stuff. So let's do it. Morgan's Madness, let's go. Alright, so this is my gameplay footage. As you can see, I'm going through all of my defeated bosses, and when you're playing on expert, basically you instead of a check mark by each boss's name, you get a star. As you can see, all the bosses in the game are completed here with a star. I'm going through my abilities to get ready for each boss. You know, I love that Cuphead had like almost like RPG elements with like ability switching, and you really find yourself doing that a lot for expert. Of course, you get a cool little gold flag by each boss you beat as well, with a gold cup in the middle, and that means you did it. You fucked this boss up on expert. You can only get expert when you beat the game. Now it looks like I'm going to fight the flower boss, but I'm not. It's actually going to segue into footage of what I wanted to show in this video, the frogs, the boxing frogs. So this is on regular, and I want to show the differences for fun. I'm just going to show one boss in this video mostly. As you can see, its first pattern is pretty straightforward. You just kind of jump over the fireballs, and then the second frog will shoot these like flaming mosquitoes high above your head, and you have to take those out. And they alternate, you know, one at a time. It's pretty easy. The irony is that I remember when I first started playing Cuphead, it seemed really hard, but that's just one of the cool things about the game. The more you play it, the better you get at it. So this is that very same form on expert, and just to show you how cool expert mode is not just your generic, these bosses have more HP, it's harder. They switch up the patterns. Both frogs are going to use their attacks at the same time. You have the flaming mosquitoes at the top and the fireballs at the bottom, and all this is going. Now I'm doing pretty well at this because I played this boss many times and I got pretty good at the game, but basically you have a lot going on. The flaming mosquitoes prevent your jumping radius, and of course dealing with the fireballs below at the same time makes things a lot more interesting. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, expert's gonna be a lot of fun. This is like one of the early bosses in the game too, mind you, and that's what they do in expert mode. They take some of the patterns of the bosses and switch them up in ways that make them a lot more difficult, and it makes them feel new and fresh. Here is the last form of the frog boxers. Okay, this is on regular. As you can see, it's pretty easy. It's gonna throw a bunch of coins at me. Pretty slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you slip in there and you parry it to start the next part of it. So it's a slot machine that gives you random attacks. This is the first phase. Here is one where you just kind of jump through these little balls, and this is just regular. And again, it's funny that this was ever hard, but this is not bad. This is pretty easy. Okay. And again, you just dodge a couple of these slow moving coins. It's pretty straightforward. You parry the switch, that opens up the slot machine. Now this form is more interesting. If you see, these green platforms are much closer together and they're moving fairly quickly, and then they're going to speed up. But for the most part, it's not the hardest thing in the world, right? Just because of how they've set that up. Now this is the last form on expert. Same boss, all right? Look at all these coins. They're all over the place. You can't even get to the fucking lever, which is just really cool. And then let's see what the first attack it unleashes here is. So look how wide these green platforms are, and they're much slower, as if to kind of fuck with your pace. And then when they speed up, they're farther apart, so it's easier just to get a little. See, I just got a little discombobulated, which is kind of the fun of the expert mode in general. Now, just for fun, I was just recording this footage for the video, just kind of fucking around. This is a really quick clip I wanted to show of the boss. It's the cuckoo clock. And when you play on expert, there's just fucking eggs all over the place in the first form. So normally this boss shoots like one egg every now and then, and that egg explodes into little pieces. And as you can see here, when I first started, I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. There's an egg. Oh, there's another egg. Wow, okay, well, it's not too bad. But then 1, boom, 2, boom, 3, boom. And the pieces are breaking up around you as you just start, and then he's shooting missiles, and you got the birds. And it can just get out of control really fast. You get in the wrong place, and there's, 3 there's eggs all over the place. It's tricky. Now, I was mostly doing this pretty sloppy because I just wanted to make a fun video. But the achievement I got that I'm really proud of right here, beat the devil at his own game. Less than 1% of all Cuphead gamers have achieved this. So I'm pretty fucking proud. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Kind of a weird fusion of anxiety and gaming, Cuphead. My cupeth runneth over, ha ha ha. But this is like an example of the stuff, the videos I want to make, because these are things I'm always dealing with in my life. And of course, my #1 passion is gaming. Of course, I'm part of a podcast that's incredible. You should check it out. It's the Sword Chomp podcast. It's called the Chompcast. You can find the Chompcast on iTunes. Find us on Instagram. We have an incredible community, and Twitter as well, at Sword Chomp. I run our Instagram account, and I'd love to meet you, and a bunch of cool stuff going on there as well. Some of you probably found this video from that. But this is my private channel, Morgan's Madness. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully we'll have more coming, and until then, I will see you.